Hello students, welcome back to Shreya's classroom. So, we were reading the story The Necklace from class 10 from the book Footprints Without Feet. We already completed the first part of the story, means part 1, and its link will be provided in the description box. So, today we'll complete the last part of the story. Okay, so let's get started. So in the previous part, we have seen that Matilda and her husband were preparing for a party. Okay, and Matilda borrowed a beautiful diamond necklace from her friend. Okay. She fell upon the neck of her friend, embraced her with passion, then went away with her treasure. So Matilda was extremely happy for the necklace. She hugged her friend with love and passion and then left the place. Okay. The day of the ball arrived. Madame Loisel was a great success. She was the prettiest of all, elegant, gracious, smiling and full of joy. All the men noticed her, asked her name and wanted to be presented. So finally, the most awaited day arrived, for which they were eagerly waiting. Not only they, in fact, we all were waiting. So the day of the ball, the day of the party arrived. Okay. And Matilda was looking very pretty. She was looking extremely beautiful. She was the prettiest of all ladies who came in the party. Okay. And she was noticed by all the men in the party. It was as if she grabbed the entire attention of the party. So she was the most beautiful lady there. Okay. She danced with enthusiasm, intoxicated with pleasure, thinking of nothing but all this admiration. This victory so complete and sweet to her heart. So Matilda was getting drowned in pleasure, joy and happiness. For some moments, she forgot all about her painful and poverty-stricken life. She was only thinking of the admiration and compliments she received in the party. So she was feeling victorious. Okay? So she enjoyed the party to the fullest. She went home towards 4 o'clock in the morning. Her husband had been half asleep in one of the little salons since midnight, with 3 other gentlemen whose wives were enjoying themselves very much. So, her husband left the party much before than Matilda, and he was sleeping in one of the salons nearby. Okay? He threw around her shoulders the modest wraps they had carried, whose poverty clashed with the elegance of the ball costume. She wished to hurry away in order not to be noticed by the other women who were wrapping themselves in rich furs. So, he put a wrap around her. Wrap means a kind of shawl. Okay, so he put a shawl around her, but the shawl was a complete mismatch to the dress she was wearing. Because the shawl was very cheap and the dress, you all know, was very expensive. So the shawl was showing their actual condition, their actual economical class. Okay. So that's why Matilda wanted to leave the place as soon as possible without being noticed by any of the rich ladies who came in the party, because she didn't want them to know about her actual lifestyle, about her actual financial condition. Loisel detained her. "Wait," said he, "I am going to call a cab." But she would not listen and descended the steps rapidly. When they were in the street, they found no carriage, and they began to seek for one, hailing the coachman whom they saw at a distance. So Matilda did not wait because she was in hurry. She wanted to leave the place as soon as possible. So they reached the street, but there they found no carriage. Okay. And then they were walking hopelessly. But finally they found a carriage. Okay, and these carriages are available in Paris only after nightfall. Okay. It took them as far as their door and they went wearily up to their apartment. It was all over for her and on his part. He remembered that he would have to be at the office by 10 o'clock. So they reached home. And now everything is over for Matilda. Because in the party, at least for some moments, she lived the life of a rich lady. She lived the life like a rich lady. She enjoyed her life the way she always wanted to. But now everything is over. They have come back to their previous life. Okay? She removed the wraps from her shoulders before the glass for a final view of herself in her glory. Suddenly she uttered a cry. Her necklace was not around her neck. So, when she went before the mirror to view herself, to view her party look for the last time, she cried out in shock because the necklace was not there. Okay. Loisel, already half undressed, asked, "What is the matter?" She turned towards him excitedly. I no longer have Madame Forestier's necklace." He arose in dismay. "What? How is that? It is not possible." And they looked in the folds of the dress, in the folds of the cloak, in the pockets, everywhere. They could not find it. So they both became very afraid and then they made a thorough search everywhere. But they did not find the necklace. Okay? He asked, "You are sure you still had it when we left the minister's house?" So her husband was asking that, "Are you sure the necklace was around your throat when we left the minister's house?" "Yes, I felt it as we came out." Then Matilda replied, "Yes, I felt so." "But if you had lost it in the street, we should have heard it fall. It must be in the cab." So they were guessing that maybe the necklace was dropped in the cab by mistake. Okay. "Yes, it is possible. Did you take the number?" "No." "And you? Did you notice what it was?" "No." So they were guessing maybe the necklace was in the cab, but they did not have the number of the cab. Okay. They looked at each other, utterly cast down. Finally, Loisel dressed himself again. "I am going," he said, "over the track where we went on foot to see if I can find it." So then he went out to look for the necklace on the street where they were walking on foot. Okay. And he went. She remained in her evening gown, not having the force to go to bed. Towards 7 o'clock, her husband returned. He had found nothing. So her husband returned home being very disappointed, being very hopeless because she had found nothing. Okay. He went to the police and to the cab offices and put an advertisement in the newspapers offering a reward. She waited all day in a state of bewilderment before this frightful disaster. Loisel returned in the evening. His face pale, he had discovered nothing. So he was trying his best to look for the necklace. He complained to the police, he went to the cab office, and he also put an advertisement in the newspaper offering a lucrative reward. But he could not discover anything. He could not get any trace of the necklace. Okay. He said, write to your friend that you have broken the clasp of the necklace and that you will have it repaired. That will give us time. So then he suggested Matilda that do one thing. Write to your friend that you have broken the clasp of the necklace. And you will return her the necklace after repairing it. So it will take little time. Okay. She wrote as he dictated. At the end of a week, they had lost all hope. And Loisel, older by 5 years, declared, we must replace this jewel. So, they took an entire week to look for the necklace. But when they could not find anything, then, Mr. Loisel, her husband, declared, being very hopeless, being very disappointed, that now we are left only with one option, and that is to replace the necklace. We have to replace the necklace. We have to buy the same one. Okay? In a shop of the Palais Royal, they found a chaplet of diamonds which seemed to them exactly like the one they had lost. It was valued at 40,000 francs. They could get it for 36,000. So they went to a jewelry shop and there they found the same diamond necklace which was looking exactly like the Madame Forestier's. Okay, and its price was 36,000. Loisel possessed 18,000 francs which his father had left him. So Loisel had only 18,000 francs which he inherited from her father. Okay. He borrowed the rest. He made ruinous promises, took money from usurers and a whole race of lenders. Then he went to get the new necklace, depositing on the merchant's counter 36,000 francs. So Loisel had only 18,000 francs which he inherited from his father. Okay, and the rest of the money, the rest 18,000 francs he borrowed from the lenders. Okay, and then he bought the diamond necklace with that 36,000 francs. Okay. When Madame Loisel took back the jewels to Madame Forestier, the latter said to her in a frigid tone, "You should have returned them to me sooner, for I might have needed them." So finally, Matilda returned the necklace to her friend. Okay. And then her friend asked her, Madame Forestier asked her that, why did you take so much time to return me the necklace? Because I was in need of that. Okay. Madame Forestier did not open the jewel box as Madame Loisel feared she would. What would she think if she should perceive the substitution? What should she say? Would she take her for a robber? So, Matilda was afraid. If Madame Forestier opened the jewel box and she checked the necklace properly and found that the necklace was not the actual one, it had been replaced, then what would she think about her? Okay. But Fortunately, Madame Forestier could not get to know anything about the replacement. Okay? Madame Loisel now knew the horrible life of necessity. She did her part, however, completely heroically. It was necessary to pay this frightful debt. She would pay it. They sent away the maid, they changed their lodgings, they rented some rooms in an attic. So now, Mr. and Madame Loisel's life took a horrible turn because they borrowed a huge amount of money from the lenders and now they have to repay their debts. So in order to repay their debts, what did they do first? First, they sent away their maid. They changed their lifestyle actually. They were already struggling in their life. They were already suffering for their poverty-stricken life. But now the situation became worse. Okay. So first, what did they do? They sent away the maid. And then they changed their lodgings. Okay. And they rented a small attic room. Okay, they started living in a small attic room. She learned the odious work of a kitchen. She washed the dishes, she washed the soiled linen, their clothes and these clothes, which she hung on the line to dry. She took down the refuse to the street each morning and brought up the water, stopping at each landing to catch her breath. And clothed like a woman of the people, she went to the grocers, the butchers and the fruiterers with her basket on her arm. Shopping, haggling to the last sou of her miserable money. So Matilda did all the household work. Cooking, washing the clothes, washing the dishes, shopping, marketing, bargaining, everything. She did everything. Okay, so she was leading a miserable life. She was leading the miserable part, the most miserable part of her life. Okay. The husband worked evenings, putting the books of some merchants in order, and nights he often did copying at 5 sous a page. And this life lasted for 10 years. At the end of 10 years, they had restored all. So, her husband was also doing extra work in order to earn extra money. Okay. So, this miserable life, this miserable life of them lasted for 10 years. Because after 10 years, they repaid all their debts. Okay. And they restored everything. They got back everything. Okay. Madame Loisel seemed old now. She had become a strong, hard woman, the crude woman of the poor household. Her hair badly dressed, her skirts awry, her hands red. She spoke in a loud tone and washed the floor with large pails of water. But sometimes, when her husband was at the office, she would sit herself before the window and think of that evening party of former times, of that ball where she was so beautiful and so flattered. So, though after 10 years, they restored everything, they got back their previous life, but Matilda underwent a drastic change. She underwent a huge change. She no more looks beautiful. Now she had turned into an old and cranky lady. Okay, her voice changed. Her dress was, her hair was not properly made. Her dress was not neat and clean. Okay, so she changed drastically. Okay, but sometimes when she remained alone at home, she used to think of that party where she was looking extremely beautiful. She received everyone's compliment and she enjoyed to the fullest. And she also used to think that if she would not have lost the necklace, maybe their life would be different. Okay. One Sunday, as she was taking a walk in the Champs-Élysées to rid herself of the cares of the week, she suddenly perceived a woman walking with a child. It was Madame Forestier, still young, still pretty, still attractive. Madame Loisel was affected. Should she speak to her? Yes, certainly. And now that she had paid, she would tell her all. Why not? So one day, she suddenly met Madame Forestier, her friend. Okay. She approached her. Good morning, Jean. Her friend did not recognize her and was astonished to be so familiarly addressed by this common personage. She stammered, But, Madame, I do not know. You must be mistaken. No, I am Matilda Loisel. Her friend uttered a cry of astonishment. Oh, my poor Matilda, how you have changed! So one day she suddenly met Madame Forestier. But Madame Forestier could not recognize her at first because Matilda changed drastically. Okay, she no more looks like before. That's why her friend could not recognize her. But when Matilda introduced Matilda introduced herself to her friend, she got astonished. Her friend, Madame Forestier, got astonished. She became shocked, seeing these drastic changes in Matilda. Okay? Yes, I have had some hard days since I saw you, and some miserable ones, and all because of you. So now, Matilda told her everything. How she spent the miserable days of her life in the last 10 years, and she blamed Madame Forestier for all her pain and sufferings. Okay? Because of me? How is that? So then Madame Forestier became shocked, saying that you suffered because of me. How is that possible? You recall the diamond necklace that you loaned me to wear to the minister's ball? Yes, very well. Well, I lost it. How is that, since you returned it to me? I returned another to you exactly like it, and it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. You can understand that it was not easy for us who have nothing. But it is finished and I am decently content. So, now Matilda told her the truth, that she had lost Madame Forestier's diamond necklace and she bought a new one. She bought the same diamond necklace for her. Okay? Madame Forestier stopped short. She said, You say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine. Yes, you did not perceive it then. They were just alike. And she smiled with proud and simple joy. Madame Forestier was touched and took both her hands and she replied, "Oh, my poor Matilda, mine were false. They were not worth over 500 francs." So then, Madame Forestier became shocked and replied, "Oh, poor Matilda, what you have done? My necklace was not real. It was false. It wasn't made of real diamonds. And its price wasn't more than 500 francs. So now see, Matilda suffered so much due to this necklace. And now Madame Forestier is saying that the necklace was not real. It was false. Okay. So this is how the story ends. And what did you learn from the story? It imparts a very important moral lesson that we should not be greedy. We should be happy in our life. We should be satisfied with what life gives us. We should not demand more. Okay. So this is how the story ends. I hope you are really enjoying my video, and if you really feel that you are getting benefited by my videos, then please like, comment, share and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video.